There is a quiet pain in being misunderstood by people who never asked what was really happening inside you. They called you rude when you were only being honest. They called you cold when you were only protecting your peace. They called you too intense when your soul was simply too awake to pretend that shallow things could satisfy you. Chosen ones, this has followed you longer than you may admit. You learned to soften your voice, lower your eyes, explain your silence, apologize for your boundaries, and shrink parts of yourself just so people would stop feeling uncomfortable around you. But deep down, something always felt wrong about that, because you were not trying to hurt anyone. You were trying to exist without betraying yourself. And here is the part many people never tell you. Some people are not offended by your rudeness. They are intimidated by your power. They feel the weight of your presence before you even speak. They sense your discernment. They notice that you do not easily perform, flatter, chase, or bend. And because they cannot name what your presence awakens in them, they label it as attitude. This video is not here to excuse cruelty. It is here to help you separate real rudeness from projected intimidation. Because once you understand what they are really reacting to, you stop carrying shame that was never yours. If you have ever been called difficult, distant, or too much for simply carrying a presence others could not explain, subscribe, like, and share this with someone who needs to stop apologizing for the power God placed inside them. Number 1. They call it rudeness because they cannot name your presence. Some people do not reject you because you did something wrong. They reject you because something about your presence makes them aware of things they have been avoiding. You walk into a room quietly, and still the air changes. You do not have to demand attention. You do not have to raise your voice. You may simply sit there, calm, observant, peaceful, and someone begins to feel uncomfortable. Chosen ones, this is where many people mislabel you. They feel your depth, but they call it attitude. They feel your discernment, but they call it judgment. They feel your confidence, but they call it arrogance. They feel your distance from fake energy, but they call it coldness. Not because those words are always true, but because those words give them a way to explain the discomfort they do not want to examine. Your presence can be a mirror, and mirrors do not insult people. They simply reveal what is standing in front of them. When someone is carrying insecurity, envy, guilt, or hidden motives, your calmness can feel louder than another person's anger. Your eyes may notice what they hoped would stay hidden. Your spirit may sense what their mouth is trying to cover. This does not mean you are perfect. It means you must learn discernment. Sometimes you refine your delivery. Sometimes you listen with humility. But sometimes the accusation is not correction. It is protection. They are protecting themselves from admitting that your presence exposed something they were not ready to face. And this is why the next layer matters. Because sometimes you do not even have to speak for them to feel threatened. Number 2. Your silence exposes what their noise was hiding. There is a kind of silence that makes people nervous. Not because it is empty, but because it is full of awareness. You may be sitting in the room saying almost nothing, yet somehow people begin to act different around you. They talk louder. They joke harder. They explain themselves more than they need to. They try to pull you into gossip, drama, flattery, or shallow conversation, because your stillness makes the atmosphere feel too honest. Chosen ones, your silence has often been misunderstood because it refuses to perform. You are not always quiet because you are angry. You are not always distant because you think you are better. Sometimes you are quiet because your spirit can sense when a room is built on masks. Sometimes you are still because you have learned that not every conversation deserves your energy, and not every connection is safe enough for your depth. That is what unsettles certain people. They are used to noise covering everything. Noise covers insecurity. Noise covers jealousy. Noise covers emptiness. Noise covers the truth nobody wants to name. But when you stop joining the performance, their own inner world becomes louder to them. Your silence becomes a mirror they did not ask for. It does not accuse them. It does not chase them. It simply stands there, calm and steady, and reveals what their noise was trying to hide. This is not rudeness. This is discernment. And once your silence begins exposing the room, your honesty becomes the next thing they try to attack. Number 3. Your honesty feels like attack to people who live in performance. There comes a point when your spirit becomes too tired to keep pretending confusion is peace. You stop laughing at what feels false. You stop agreeing just to keep the room comfortable. You stop explaining away behavior that quietly drains you. And when you finally speak with clarity, some people do not hear truth. They hear threat. Chosen ones. This is where many of you have been wounded. You were not trying to destroy anyone. You were not trying to embarrass them. You were simply naming what everyone could feel but nobody wanted to say. Yet the moment you spoke plainly, the room changed. Suddenly you were too harsh. Suddenly you were negative. Suddenly you were rude. But truth often feels like an attack to people who have built their lives around performance. If someone survives through manipulation, your clarity feels dangerous. If someone depends on people-pleasing, your boundaries feel offensive. If someone hides behind charm, your discernment feels like exposure. This is why you must learn the holy difference between being cruel and being clear. Cruelty wants to wound. Clarity wants to reveal. Cruelty humiliates. Clarity liberates. Sometimes you may need to soften your tone, choose better timing, or listen with humility. That is maturity. But sometimes the accusation is not correction. Sometimes it is a spiritual trap designed to make you betray your own knowing. They call your honesty rude because honesty removes the costume. And once truth enters the room, performance can no longer feel safe. Number 4. Their reaction is often projection, not revelation. There is a moment when you have to stop treating every reaction as truth. Just because someone feels uncomfortable around you does not mean you did something wrong. Sometimes their reaction is not revealing your flaw. It is revealing their wound. Chosen ones. This is where many of you have carried burdens that were never yours. Someone felt judged because your standards reminded them of what they keep avoiding. Someone felt controlled because your boundary interrupted their access to you. Someone felt small because your confidence awakened comparison inside them. Then, instead of facing that discomfort, they placed it on you and called you rude, difficult, arrogant, or cold. That is projection. It is when another person takes what is unresolved inside them and makes your spirit responsible for it. Your peace becomes a threat to their chaos. Your clarity becomes a threat to their confusion. Your self-respect becomes a threat to the version of you they were used to managing. This does not mean you ignore all feedback. A mature chosen one can listen, refine, and grow without collapsing into shame. But you must learn the difference between correction that helps you become wiser and accusation that is trying to make you smaller. And if this is speaking to a part of your life you have never had words for, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who has been called rude for finally choosing peace over performance. Because the next layer is even deeper. The moment you stop shrinking, the opposition often becomes louder. Number 5. The moment you stop shrinking, they feel the power they used to control. People do not always miss you because they loved you well. Sometimes they miss the version of you that was easier to manage. The version that explained too much. The version that apologized when you had done nothing wrong. The version that stayed quiet to keep the peace, even while something inside you was slowly disappearing. Chosen ones, when healing begins, your energy changes. Your no becomes cleaner. Your yes becomes rarer. Your peace becomes guarded. Your attention becomes sacred. You stop handing access to people who only valued you when you were available, agreeable, and afraid to disappoint them. And that is when they begin to call you rude. Not because you became cruel, but because you became harder to control. They were comfortable with your insecurity. They knew how to guilt you, interrupt you, pull you back, and make you question your own discernment. But now, your spirit does not move as easily under pressure. Now, your silence has weight. Now, your boundary has roots. This is why some people act offended when you start respecting yourself. Your growth removes privileges they never should have had. Your healing closes doors they used to walk through without knocking. Your calm refusal reminds them that the old version of you is no longer available. This is not punishment. This is preparation. You are being trained to stop confusing control with love and familiarity with safety. The people who can only stay connected to a smaller version of you are not losing you by accident. They are being revealed on purpose. And this is where the pattern becomes sacred, because throughout every calling, opposition often rises the moment the chosen one stops shrinking. Number 6. This is why light has always disturbed darkness. There is a reason this pattern feels older than your personal story. It is not just social rejection. It is not just people misunderstanding your tone. Sometimes what you are feeling is the ancient tension between light and everything that wants to remain hidden. Chosen ones, your power is not about being better than other people. It is not about walking into rooms with pride or looking down on those who have not healed. True spiritual power is much quieter than that. It is the presence of truth in a world that survives on pretending. It is the calm of a soul that has suffered, learned, awakened, and can no longer worship what is false. This is why your presence can disturb certain people, not because you attack them, but because something in you carries a mirror they did not ask to see. David did not have to be cruel for Saul to feel threatened. His anointing alone exposed the insecurity of a king who was losing his inner authority. Jesus did not have to chase darkness for darkness to resist him. His light revealed what people wanted to keep buried. So, when people are offended by your strength, do not rush to turn your light down. First ask whether they are responding to your behavior or reacting to what your presence reveals. There is a difference. Your calling is not permission to become arrogant. It is an invitation to become steady, because the next stage of your power is learning how to carry light without letting rejection make you hard. Number 7. You can be powerful without becoming cruel. The final lesson is not that you must become colder. It is not that you must punish everyone who misunderstood you. It is not that your power gives you permission to become careless with people. True power does not need to be loud, harsh, or proud. True power becomes steady. Chosen ones, you were never called to shrink for people who fear truth, but you were also never called to let rejection turn your heart into stone. Your strength matures when your boundaries carry compassion. Your silence carries wisdom. Your honesty carries humility. You can stop apologizing for your presence without becoming cruel with it. That is the balance many people never learn. Some stay small so they can be accepted. Others become hard so they can never be hurt again. But you are being invited into something higher. You are learning how to stand in your power with clean hands and a guarded heart. You are learning how to be kind without being controlled, open without being naive, peaceful without being passive. So no, you were not rude for refusing to shrink. You were not broken for being deep. You were not wrong for carrying a presence that exposed what others wanted hidden. Your difference was not a flaw. It was a sign of awakening, healing, and divine assignment. If this message helped you stop carrying shame that was never yours, subscribe, like, and share it with someone who is ready to stop apologizing for the power God placed inside them. You do not need everyone to understand you. You only need the courage to remain true.